Hello, world. Welcome to Decode or Not to Code. I'm Mila Eva. I'm really happy to be here today. And Stefan's here with me. How's it going, Stefan?
I have a bit of a I have a déjà vu. Haven't we been here yesterday already?
Oh, yeah, it's true. Bit of a deja vu, absolutely. If you've been with us yesterday, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining. If you're new, however, also thank you for joining on this lovely Thursday afternoon. And yeah, if you haven't been in the show for a while, we're currently building a .NET tool that counts usings and also globalizes them. So like if you have like duplicate usings, they will be sort of gathered and put into a global usings file for you. But yeah, and that's sort of where we left off yesterday. That's where we want to continue today. But before we get it all into that jazz, we will have a look at what's new in the .NET world, in the tech world. And yeah, what have we got here? This is the .NET Tools blog, right? It's a monthly blog post that I think we're quite a big fan of. Yeah, check it out.
And has
You're just scrolling through.
basically everything or significant parts that has happened in the world and in the community of .NET in the last month.
Yes, amazing. What else have we got here? Oh yeah, and we're posting all the links in the chat,
Yes.
and later on we'll put it in the description of the video if you can't join us live.
We also like to recommend this blog post by Jason Bock, which introduces us how to write a source generator, which is also a Roslyn feature with C#. And there's a high chance that we will be on this show also building a source generator in the future. It's very likely because I really like. No, actually, I love source generators.
Yeah. True. That's like your happy place.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes, the Unhandled Exception podcast. I really like this podcast. It's really it's really fun. It's really sort of I love to listen to it when I'm like on the train or somewhere. And they have also large variety of like different topics. And also, if you scroll a little bit down, you might also see a familiar face. That David was with us on a previous episode and helped us out with our tool quite a lot. So that's also a great episode, by the way, if you're interested. But yeah, they have loads of different episodes, and they're all really good. So definitely go and check that out. Yep. I love the name as well. It's really catchy.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. And let's, without any further ado, let's jump right back into the code. I really like doing them back to back, like the episodes, because after 2 weeks, I sometimes I have to get like take a little time to get back into the subject. But I think it's all still in there. But yeah, nevertheless, if you're new, if you haven't been with us yesterday, let's kind of give you a little intro.
So what we did yesterday, we finished the testing or the implementation of detection whether code is generated or not, where we have implemented 3 ways, either by checking if the generated code attribute has been placed on the assembly, if we have any of the auto-generated or any of both of these auto-generated comments in the top of a file, or if the file starts or ends with these names. All of these indicate that this is a generated test method. We actually a generated code or a generated document. We actually miss one check. There is one thing where you can in a .editor config file, you can add something like, I think it's generated _code equals to true. But I haven't figured out how to detect this with Roslyn and also how to test this. So I guess I will create a issue on our GitHub repository for that, and we will need to tackle this in the future. But yeah, this is not the most common thing how generated code is marked. The most common is the file names and the comments. So we got the most common cases, and this less common case we will tackle in the future.
I really like this moment yesterday where, like we checked only, I think, auto-generated if it's like spelled together, because we were like, oh, we've never seen it with a dash before. And then, so it crashed because we had like a file with a dash in there. So that was a really good moment yesterday.
I've never seen it, but actually every project that I've built in the last 10 years has this generated
No
or has a
way.
file generated. I just never saw it, but it has always been there. And then what do we do then? Yes, we added some more tests for our counter tool to support cancellation,
Yes.
to abort if we have any compilation errors, and also to abort if we are not in a C# project. For example, if we are in a Visual Basic project. And sorry, it is the wrong test. There we go, finally. So we have added these tests at the end. So here are all the auto-generated tests. We have the, if we create some invalid syntax well, we have a compiler error in the project, then we throw. If we cancel, we support cancellation, then we throw the operation cancel exception. And this is still our to-do. If we are in a Visual Basic project, I didn't get this to run yesterday, but also follow up, because we also had an issue with the test, with the auto-generated comments, actually. And if we go to there it is. We thought that these two cases, if we start with a comment, or if we start with any comment and then have a new line, and then have the auto-generated comment, then this should not be marked as a generated code file. But actually it is. I tried it out. So I put this code into a file and then saw if Roslyn analyzers actually produce warnings. And they didn't anymore when adding this or also adding this construct. So the test here was assuming false before previously. I changed this to true. So we changed this to true. So now it's correct. But our production code that we wrote yesterday was correct already.
Nice.
So it not just works.
Perfect.
And the other follow-up, we couldn't yesterday get the Visual Basic project to be created.
Yeah.
And this is because, I think we still have the error here, that the requested operation is available because the runtime library function requires this type. Microsoft Visual Basic Compiler Service Standard Module Attribute. Now so this is not available in our assembly. We could add it manually to our assembly, or we've been so close yesterday. I think we had a look at the type.
Yeah, we did.
If we scroll to the very bottom, it actually says that this type, it's available since .NET Framework 1.1 and since .NET Core 1. But it doesn't mention .NET Standard. And this is how we create our projects, actually. So if we jump to this Visual Basic factory that creates a Visual Basic project, we actually we add our documents, and then we add metadata references. But we add the net standard 2.0 references, which doesn't have this type. So if we go ahead and add, let's say, the net 6 reference assemblies, now we should get a different error. And we do. Now we get an invalid cast exception, because we try to cast a Visual Basic compilation unit syntax into a C# compilation unit syntax. And I guess now we have a failing test. Now we can write some production code. This was the last missing use case from yesterday, to throw if this is not a C# project. Would you like to give it a try?
Yes. All right. So okay. Oh my God. This was
Perhaps
the last.
perhaps a little bit of a hint.
Yes, please. Hints are
So we
fabulous.
can when we have a C# project. Oops, sorry, this far. So this is really a C# project. So the CS proj.
Mm-hmm.
That means this project can only contain C#
C
files.
sharp.
If we have a Visual Basic project, this would be a VB proj,
Okay.
and
Okay.
while F# would be FS proj. So
So I
yeah,
suppose I need to have like a check whether the file ends with this or that. Correct?
not
No.
necessarily, no. But I wanted to hint at that this defining the language is on a project level.
Okay. Okay. But it's still like it's still like an if check, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Good. And okay, so we have other if checks here. So should I just like join them, like maybe right in front, like here? Something like that?
Well,
No.
yeah. Let's start. We can always move
Let's
it
start.
laterwards,
Oh,
afterwards.
that wasn't me. That wasn't me. That was not me. That was the auto thingy. Okay, so if okay, how do I get to the project? Can I just go project dot? No.
We already have it. Yes.
Yes. Where is it? Okay, it's just project dot. And I'm just gonna have a look at what's there. I'm looking probably for something. Language.
That sounds very
No.
promising.
Language. Perfect.
And that is a string. So we now need to check if this is, or if it's not the C# language string.
Okay.
I think we did this in Have a Déjà Vu.
Is not the. Sorry. That what? Okay. So wait. So this language that I've got here is a language string that
Yes.
says. Okay.
That's-
So I can compare this, right?
Yes.
And okay. So if this is.
And let me have a look. I have this Déjà Vu. We built something similar already in our C# factory where we create projects, because this is where we create projects. I think we wrote this like 2 episodes ago. When we want to, was 3 episodes? When we want to add a project to a solution, then we also need to pass the language. And there is some constants for that already. And this is in the language names. Type.
Got it. Easy. Language names dot, and then so we want to do something. Okay, so should I check? Okay, if it's C#, do what we've already got. If it's Visual Basic, do something else, right?
Mm-hmm. Or if it could also be F#. We also don't want to do anything if it's an F# project. So we only want to do something if we only support C#.
Okay, if it is C#, continue. Else, throw an exception.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, easy. Okay. Yes. Can I just say continue? Continue.
Well, we can continue here because we are not in a loop. Only if we are in a for each or in a while loop can we continue. Let's have a look at the test, what we actually expect. So we expect an invalid operation exception if we happen to be in a Visual Basic or if we happen to be in a non-C# project.
Okay, so should I check for a non-C# project? Should I just do the thing?
Let's give it a try.
Should I just do this? Okay. And then throw new. You just said it, and I still forgot about it. What is it?
Invalid operation exception.
Yes. Oh no, that wasn't me. That was me. Say something. Perfect. Invalid operation exception. Invalid operation exception.
Cool.
Do I have to give it a name, or can I just?
No, just. Well, it's a. We want to invoke the constructor, so since that's a method, we always need the parentheses. Yes.
Fabulous.
Well, I guess later on we could also add some nice error messages, but
yes.
But for now, it should suffice. We can make it more user or more guiding the user afterwards.
Cool.
And all
Cool,
of
cool,
our
cool.
using counter tests are now passing.
Nice.
Since we will be needing, I guess, yeah, so from test-driven point, we first have a fading test, then we write production code, and then we can do refactoring because we will be needing this check in the future for our globalizer and other
Globalizer.
tools and commands as well. So what do you think about moving this into a separate method that we then
I
can
love it.
reuse?
I love it.
And I think what I would suggest, we already have this Roslyn utilities where we also have the is-generated code check. So
And I
perhaps
also
let's
made a
move it
mistake.
there.
Can we just have is not?
Yes, we can. But this is basically the same.
Yes,
From
I prefer this.
syntactically different, but semantically the same. Yeah.
Yes, cool. Okay, sorry. Yes.
No, that's
but
cool.
now we want to move it into a completely different method. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So perhaps let's create a method in the Roslyn utilities.
Mm-hmm. And okay, just say it.
Get rid of this. There we go. Okay.
Okay. So just
yeah.
so can I just copy this and change it, or should I write it? I think copy paste.
What do you prefer?
Oh, you were about to say let's write it, weren't you?
I was about to say yes.
Okay. Static. And what is it? What is it? What kind of?
We could have a method that throws if it is not C#. That would mean it can be void. It doesn't return anything.
Oh. Void. And we're going to call it is speaking the right language.
I think.
No.
I think I froze here for a while. Sorry, I didn't catch the last 2 seconds.
Oh no! Did I freeze? Why?
I froze. I froze. Okay, then back. Cool. Thanks.
Sorry. Yes. So how do we call this method? So we have is generated code, is generated code, is generated code.
What I like is always have a look at what the BCL is doing, and there is, for example, the argument null exception has a method called throw if null.
Okay.
And maybe we call it similar, like throw if not C#.
If not C#. I like it. And what do we get? We get a project.
Yes.
Project. And then, woo. Enter.
Guess we can just move the code over.
Yes. Oh no, God, my copy pasting, perfect.
Cool.
Yay.
And let's save this document and run the tests.
Oh, but we haven't called the method yet, have we?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We should. That's absolutely right. Yes, let's call it.
Let's call it.
We could also do it. I think we could do it at the very, very beginning.
Very
beginning. We don't need to
Yes.
create anything if we know it's not a C# project.
Can I just go project? No. Do we have it? Yeah, we have it. Project dot. No.
We didn't mark it as an extension method. We could make it an extension method, or we need to call into the Roslyn utilities.
What? We need to what? Sorry.
Because we put the type in the Roslyn utilities.
Ah, yes.
We put the method in the Roslyn utilities type. Now auto completion should
if not
show it.
C#. Yeah. And project. Yay.
Cool.
Easy.
Now let's.
I'm already doing so much better than this time yesterday. I just want this is already pretty good. It didn't take like 5 minutes to spell one word correctly. So It's a big improvement for me. It's baby steps, guys.
Baby steps. C# for babies. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Nice.
And oh, that's a green.
Fabulous.
Cool.
Amazing. Cool.
I
Easy.
think I also placed some to-dos that I would like to take a look at on those two types. So the basic functionality is now complete. And
Yes.
now a bit of refactoring. So we have on the, let's tackle that afterwards. On the using directive, in the previous episode, we made that one IE quotable in order to check,
Mm.
in order to enable assert equals.
Mm-hmm.
So if we jump to the test methods, we made this quotable in order to enable like this syntax to have to assert equal here. But what I now don't like anymore is we do get a, well, currently it's an info, but
Yeah.
later on, if we enable warnings and make them as errors, this wouldn't compile anymore. Because since this type now implements I quotable, it should also override the equals method from the base object. And if we do that, we also should override the get hash code. And that would indicate that this type is ready to be placed in dictionaries and hash sets. But this type is mutable. Well, it's not publicly mutable because we made this internal, but it's still mutable. So it's not really perfect to be used in dictionaries and hash sets. So I would like to remove the equality from this type and solve that differently.
Okay.
Because if we now run the tests, they should all fail because we now do, it's no longer quotable, so we now do reference equality and it's a different instance. So yeah, most of the tests,
yes.
except those tests which expect failure, now fail. And
Okay. So what are the options of solving it differently?
we could, I'd say we would write our own assert that we can later on nicely replace with a framework that we're checking out in a
Oh
future
yes.
episode.
Hint, hint.
I forgot the name. What was the name again? Fluent assertion, right?
Did you just
And
really forget the name, or was that?
I really forgot it briefly. Yes.
No, we're gonna have a really cool episode. Actually, we have it. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be really cool, but I'm really looking forward to it because we've been talking about it for ages.
Yes.
But yeah, little sneak peek.
But for now, let's do it naively.
Yes.
So, and we only need it in this very type. So perhaps let's have a static void. Well, we can't really call it assert because this would clash with the assert. So we need some name for this method, which now does what the other one did previously. I'm just pasting this here for reference. And I guess, so what is usually the input to equal? So we could make it similar to equal. So the first one is the expected. The second one is the actual, where our expected is a collection of using directives. And the actual is the result that our count using method is returning. And now let's do our own comparison of these types. Perhaps we can call it assert result.
Okay. Okay. So how do we start?
We need to, because we basically have two collections that we want to compare.
Yes. So yeah, so it's probably like a check, like if this is equal, return this, something like that.
Yes, but we can't do equality directly because collections themselves are not comparable. Well, they are comparable by instance, but not by content. So we need to write or we can use a sequence equal a facility from link and then have our own equality comparer that does that.
Okay, so if like so autocomplete actually suggests this here,
Okay.
but
Well, it's an
I
okay, it's an
suppose
okay start.
it's an okay start. But we wanted to
Yes.
have this is a what is the sequence equal?
Sequence
Sequence
equal, yes,
sequence
which is an
equal
extension method of the link.
method. And what do we want? We want the actual, right?
Yes,
And we want what from actual? It has a couple of.
the collection, because on actual we have. Do I do the right thing? Yes. Oh, no, this was not the right thing.
Wow, this is cool.
I meant to do. This is what I meant to do. Yes.
Okay.
We have here our using. So this is our actual using directive collection, and this is our expected. So we want to compare these two.
Okay, so usings, I think.
Mhm.
Usings. And what is the other one that we want to compare?
I'll just remove the code because, yeah, what we do now, since sequence equal, would now again call equality check on each and every element. But we have removed the equality now from this type.
Oh,
So we need to provide our own equality comparer. And perhaps I'll AI style, just I style, autocomplete that for you. So let's create our own private sealed class here. We could call it the using directive equality comparer, which derives from equality comparer of using directive. Because an equality comparer now requires us to implement, okay, we don't see it here, but we will see it in a second because this doesn't compile. We need to implement this abstract members and basically now have our equals here and also the get hash code. But yeah, we don't really care about the get hash code. So let's have that throw in not supported. But now we can do our equals check here. And I guess this could be very similar to what we had previously.
okay. What is this get hash code and why do we not?
Get hash code is required for hash sets and dictionaries or any other types or collections that use the hash set for faster lookup. So the dictionary and hash set, if you are lookup types, and if you add a new, or if you want to grab, because a dictionary, let's just write it. So if we have a dictionary on the left hand side we have keys. Let's say we have a string, and on the right hand side we have values. Let's say an integer.
Yes.
And now we can add a key and value pair. So this is my key, and this will be our value. Now when we want to get an element, we could, for example, get them by key. So this would now return the value 2. And this lookup is very fast because we actually don't go into this dictionary and compare all the keys of type string that we stored with this value. But what the dictionary is doing is actually calculating the hash code of this key and then comparing it with the hash codes it actually stored. And the hash code is an integer. And this is then a faster lookup. I think it has 0 from 1 complexity. That means it has almost or practically constant complexity. So irrelevant of this, it's virtually irrelevant of the size, the lookup speed is the same. And if we would check all the elements by value, actually do an equals check on the string, then this would be then O of n complexity, because the larger the dictionary gets, the longer it takes to find a value potentially. And this is the benefit of a dictionary and also a hash set, and they require the get hash code implementation. But since we don't do any hash-based lookups here, we actually want to do value comparison that tells us true or false. We don't need the hash code.
Okay. Fair enough.
And this is what I meant by actually removing it from this type, because strictly speaking, our type is mutable. And if we would store this type in a dictionary, And since it's mutable, change, let's say, the occurrences, because the occurrences is the one that we can increment. Now the actual hash code would be different. So we could potentially, more or less, lose a key in the dictionary and then never find this value again.
Okay.
And this is why, in most cases, in hash types that are used as keys in dictionaries and in hash sets should be immutable, and equal values should return the same hash code.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, and now we need to use this as well, this class. So
Yes. So we can
can I
just
also
create a new
just
instance
go
of yes.
new instance, perfect. Of using, what did you call it? Using
Using the directive
directive
equality comparer.
if equality comparer. Yes, got it. And then something like that, probably. No, is that too
Cool.
much? No, it is
No,
not
that's
too
perfect.
much. We need all of them.
Because when you
Okay.
have a look at the implementation, it actually then does sequence equals and it passes this now our comparer. So it doesn't use the default, it doesn't use the types equal implementation. It uses the one that we supply here.
Okay. And sort of if we're going from what we've had before, we kind of want to create something similar. I think we did like compare it, and if it was this, if it was the same, it would be like passing the test, and if it was not the same, we would get like I expected this, and but I got that. Oh, what happened? Oh,
no, I
what did you
just
do?
pasted the code in from what we had previously with the
Okay.
other, but we need to change that. Because this is no longer an instance method on the actual using directive. Sorry, what you said is correct. Yes, if this sequence check is failing, then we want to throw some exception to say that the test is failing. Yeah, exactly. This is what we gonna end up with. Yeah.
So can we just like turn it round, like if it's not okay? Perfect. I love when that works. This is so satisfying. Because yeah, perfect. Anyway, okay, and then we want like to write a message, right? Which is a string.
We can write a message, yeah.
String message. We can write a message, and
now I guess this message it would be cool if this message would contain if we have a test failing, then it would be excellent if the message that we get would exactly tell us what's wrong, or at least give a hint as good as possible, and not just say, okay, test failed, because then we need to debug, and that's painful. So the message should reveal where the problem may be. So I think it would be cool if we then actually print out the expected and the actual, like next to each other, so that we can see what the diff is.
Can I like do this more readable somehow? Like, oh, what did I do?
Oh, yes.
What happened?
Yes.
Why did I do this?
But if you do it per default, it will do string concatenation.
Oh,
what we do wanna do, or what's cool now with C# 11, we can use raw string literals.
We've had these in the previous episode. Those are the ones where there are loads of those, right? Is that it?
Yes, I love them maybe a little bit too much.
Okay.
So this will be, I'll just post it at the end. So this will be 3 at the beginning and 3 at the end.
That was so funny. I mean, because I literally just tried to do that.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It took like way too long. Yeah, my copy pasting stuff is legend. Actually, okay. So we expected, and we wanted to print the actual. I'm just going to do this because I think it makes actual perfect. And then we need to do this.
Yeah, we need to materialize each of these collections to a string.
Did we need this?
Ooh, yes.
Perfect. Yes, I'm getting that. I'm getting good at this. All right. And what?
So what we can do is use if we want to.
Now I'm stuck.
If we want to combine a collection of strings to a singular string, we can use string.join.
String.join.
And string.join, if I now press the correct shortcut, it takes a separator or a char separator. We could have a comma, and it takes in a collection of objects that it should print or should combine.
Okay, but but if we take a comma, I probably can't just write it in like that.
No, we need to either
No.
if we want to have a comma space, then we have a string comma space. If we only want to have the singular character comma, we can also pass it as a character. If we don't want to have a space after the comma.
But we do we?
I guess it's a formatting how you prefer it.
I prefer it like this. And then
Perfect.
sorry, what did you say?
Then the second one is now an array of or a collection of elements that we want to join together. So this will be now our expected collection.
Expected collection. Go.
So I guess expected should already be fine. I'm just adding a comma here in between, and then it should compile.
Yes.
I think, but it doesn't. Why does it not? This call is ambiguous between the following string join and string join of t. Okay. Then let's disambiguate it. Okay. Well.
Okay. And the actual will also be like a string join, I suppose?
Yes.
But then we need also the comma separated thingy. What? That wasn't me. I swear. I swear. Oh wait, do we also need it from using no?
Excuse me.
No, never mind. I'll just go step by step. I'm just confusing myself, I think. Okay, like this, like that, and then not expected, but actual.
Yes. Actuals, yeah.
Nice. And now does this?
But also this collection, because the actual is this entire result, but we only want the using collection out of that.
Oh.
So on actual, we have the using collections that we also feed in here in the sequence equality comparison.
Yes. Easy. That looks good.
Do you see the using? Sorry, my bad. I had the screen froze. Yeah. Cool. Let's see. Oh yeah. Now let's and we still need to do something with that message.
Oh, why? What do we? Why?
So what? So from X unit now. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So we only have the message. We need to send it somewhere. We need to sort of.
Yes.
Okay. It's also is this a little bit gray? Message is a little bit grayed out because
that means it's never used. So we create a string but never use it. There is something weird with it.
Do we throw an exception?
Let's throw an exception, yeah.
And
if we throw some exception that X unit is aware of, then it should be giving a nice native experience together with the X unit testing framework.
Okay. And X unit has like native.
It has like several, but I always forget which one is the right one. Let's have a look. X unit. There is, I think, X unit like X unit. This is in the SDK dot exception. Okay, yeah, there are several exceptions. So there is a true exception, a false exception, a not same exception, not equal exception.
I like it.
Not equal exception sounds promising.
Okay. Did I just see that they also throw like a message thingy?
Yeah, they give in. You can pass in an expected. You pass in an expected and an actual. But maybe we need to create two strings. And we create an expected string and then actual string.
Okay.
So maybe we need to split this up into strings. So now I'm sad that we can't have a
expected expected, and is this right?
Mhm.
And actual. Oh, and then we don't need this either. But okay, let's just create the
Mhm.
two.
Mhm.
That's not what I didn't do this. I swear. I just wanted to go here. String.
Maybe if you want
Actual.
to turn off the
No, this is fun.
IntelliCode completion. Okay.
Yeah, maybe I should at some point afterwards.
I guess we can. I guess this fits nicely in one line. I guess we can
Yeah.
have it in a simple one line stringer. We don't need a war string literal for that.
Oh, okay. Easy.
I believe.
Thank you. Cool. And everything looks
Oh,
awful.
hold on.
What
Hold
is going on?
No, perhaps we actually do, because we want to use a string here. But why does this not come? So expected. I think because we're using the same name here twice. I think
Oh.
this is causing issues. So perhaps expect message.
Message. Actual message. That looks good.
Oh, and it actually, yeah, we don't need a store string literal. Then it works. Yeah. Okay.
And
Cool.
then this, I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna pass in expected message and actual message. Yay! Easy.
I'll do I'll add the using of the Xunit SDK so that it is in scope. Okay, cool. Now we have the assert ready, and now we need to finish the equality comparer.
Okay. Fine.
So since this is now no longer on this type, so we don't have this available anymore. So we now have two inputs, basically the left and the right, or X and Y, that we need to compare. But they're also nullable. They could be null. So we also want to do some null checks to see if both are null, then they are equal. If one is null, they are not equal. And if both are not null, then we can do the logic that we had before.
Okay, so like X would be the using name, right? And Y would be the using count?
No. They are both. They both are those objects that have both the name and the occurrences.
Oh.
But we get in.
Yes.
So what the sequence equals does under the hood, it basically sees, hey, are those collections of the same length? And if they are, then compares the first element of this collection with each other and the second one. And then basically we get here the first element of both collections in, then the second, then the third, and so on.
Easy. Cool. So if X is null,
if X is, so like if X is null and if Y is null, then I think they're considered equal because they both point to null. But if only one of them is null, then they're not.
Okay. So should we work with like an AND?
We can, yeah.
Y is, can I do this? No. Yes.
Yes, you can write this null.
Nice.
Actually, I like that more than the equals in for these types.
Yeah. Okay. Then return
true, because they are equal.
Yeah.
They both point to null.
Else.
But if only one of them is null, then we.
But is that another? Oh no, it isn't. I was thinking, is that another else if? But no,
we could
actually,
have an else if. Yes.
Could we?
Yeah.
Okay. But doesn't it not matter, because if one is null and the other one is anything else, then the test should fail. So it doesn't matter if it's.
Then the test should fail, and this is why we need to return false, because then they are not equal. Basically, this equality comparer is not aware of the test. This is a lower level component, which then the test is depending on.
Okay, but I would also maybe go with like the other case where it can be true. So neither is null, but they're still the same. and then I would say else it's false, right?
That's. I'm not sure what you mean. Let's write it and then
Okay, cool.
we can
So
refactor afterwards. Or leave it.
no, that doesn't work. I don't think that works. No, I'm confused now.
So we could not check if either of them is null.
Okay,
Or let's
I can
say,
do that.
because now we know.
I didn't do
Now
that.
we know that not both of them. We now know that not both are null, but we still don't know if any of them is null. So we could say if, yeah. So if x is null, then this would be false. It would not be equal.
Will return false.
Mhm.
And then else if
And
y is null.
Yes.
Y is null. Yes. And then, but now it becomes sort of tricky because the next one we actually have to compare them, right?
Yes, because now we know neither of them is null. So now we can do the value comparison of these.
Okay, x dot. No, we need an else. We do need something, right? Or do we need something?
We don't. Well, we would return. So we
Okay,
don't
so we don't need
necessarily need
anything.
an else. But if you'd like to have an else, it works.
No.
It's style. Okay. Then I paste in the code that we had from the previous comparison method. And I guess we need to change that now to fit with the new.
So what is that?
thing.
X dot name.
That's perfect. That's precise.
And what is this? What is? Oh, I'm confused now. Other dot name is y.
Yes.
Is that y? Yes.
Yes.
And this is x. Okay, perfect. Easy. Easy peasy.
Cool. Now this looks actually very promising. I'll copy now this new assert result method and use it at our very first test. So now our expected is just the entire result. And let's run. Actually, I want to see it fail. So I'll expect something, but the expectation now is wrong.
Now I know why you want to work with me.
Something. Excuse me?
You want to see it fail.
No, I didn't. Well, if I would never see it fail, I wouldn't know it's working.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Because it could be doing nothing. And it fails, and it says that expected, not expected something. Okay, I guess the method that we're using does not. So it fails as expected, but it doesn't give a message as expected. So okay, maybe the not equal exception message.
No, I think can we just
because the not equal does that.
Have that. Okay, so can we just get rid of our expected?
Well,
column?
perhaps we should use a different exception. What about the assert actual expected exception? We can pass in object and a user message. Let's try that one. So this is not a base of that message. And this one expects, does it have, is my Visual Studio freezing again? No, we had this already.
No. Can I still work? Oh my god. Everything's gone.
Recover. It does not recover.
Oh wow, I got kicked out of the live chat too. Oh no. And now everything is gone. .NET Tool, episode 1. Let's create a project.
well, this is what we have source control for.
Yeah.
And GitHub and so on. That would be okay.
I know. But I can remember like one episode where we did have something like that.
Oh,
we
yes.
pressed something, everything was gone, and we had to start all over again. But, yeah.
Because I didn't check in at that time. Yeah. Now I check in after commit after every episode to avoid that. Yeah. I want to make mistakes 7 times before I learn. I'm sending you the live share session again. And yeah, so we want to use not equal exception, but the the base exception of that. And this takes in, is it actually some overloads, but it takes in the, oh wow, user measures expected title. Oh, yeah, yeah.
But so what exactly do you not like about our current exception?
It doesn't really, let's revert it. And want to test. It says expected, not expected. So something wants to switch from here, but it says expected, not expected.
Okay.
It takes our message
and
as
adds
expected,
its own
not
message.
because it's yes, and we
But
don't.
you
We didn't
don't-
expect. We didn't expect that because it says not and then adds our message, and this isn't really what we. Yeah. So okay, what we see is actually this exception should only be used for assert.not equal.
Okay. Fair enough.
But if we use perhaps the base,
Yes.
is more fitting for us, and that one now takes some stuff. I'll add a comment here so that we know what it takes in. It takes in the expected object, the actual object, our user message, an expected title, and the actual title. Not entirely sure what will happen. So perhaps before we refactor everything, I'll just quickly paste in the things. So we have expected, we have the actual, we have our user message. I just call it user message for now. Then we have an expected title and an actual title. I'm now wondering what the result will be.
Okay.
And it will say, okay, we have here an expected title, an actual title, and it also, okay, what I like about this, it formats it nicely.
Yeah, and the user message is on top.
Yes. So
that's okay.
The user message is on top, and we don't really and it does but for these objects, again, it formats. Does this do nice formatting? Now I am curious. So if we actually pass in the usings here, and let's have a look at a different test. A test that actually produces something, but we differ in, let's say, we expect 2. Okay.
Okay.
What would happen here? We have, it says, I don't like that all too much. Well, the thing is cool that it like formats this, but I don't like it all too much. So maybe we go back to our custom message.
Yeah.
Oops, I am. So I'll restore the message that we had earlier, if you don't mind.
Yes, go for it.
So we have an interpolated string. Oops, I need to close it, otherwise formatting will throw me off. And it already did. Okay, I should stop because
what?
I can't. Something weird is going on. Okay, expected 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and now let's paste in our string. Something is off with my auto formatting now.
Haha. Equality. Nice. Since we've been talking about is equal and everything. Yes, perfect.
And this will be the message. And well, we could actually format it nicely as well. And then we don't use the assert, but we use the base XUnit exception, which is the very base exception. And we pass in our message.
Okay.
Oi, formatting is totally gone. There we go. Okay, and let's run it.
Okay. Oh, wait, that was the old nothing.
And oops, now it looks like this. So we expected something 1, 2, 3, but we got nothing.
Okay.
Perhaps we add some brackets around so that it looks like a collection.
Yes, that's
And
good.
maybe we also put these, but how do we do that? Maybe we put these elements also in like parentheses to group them. So what if we say here, if we select of the expected, I think this is a directive, isn't it? Yes. Static directive goes to a string which has parentheses and then does the, or we make it simpler. Let's make it simpler. Because we already do. No, let's finish that. And put in the directive in here.
Nice. Looks cool.
Hope that works. Okay, now we have string interpolation within string interpolation.
Nice.
Welcome
to the code or not to code.
We need to put parentheses for these? No.
No.
Damn it. Does this mean we need to put this entire thing, oops, to parentheses? Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. Okay, I'll choose the simple way.
What's the simple way?
By having because our using directive does overload our toString, and we just put the parentheses here.
Okay.
And now it should give a nice message.
Okay.
And yeah, and if we add another one, something 1, something 2, now this should give an okay message of what the difference is. So we expected something 1, 1 to 3, something 2, 1 to 3, and we have actually nothing. And here's the comma separated
Nice.
string from the string.join.
That looks good.
I do like that. How about you?
Yeah, happy with that.
Cool. Then we have our comparison ready. Would you help? Are you back in the? Yes, you're back in the session. Would you help me to change all assert results to the new one? I'll start at the bottom.
Yes. I'll scroll to the top. Okay, but no, sorry, we're changing from assert to assert result because that's the one we just built, right? Yeah.
That's ours. Yeah.
Okay, easy. Okay. Expected. Oh my god. This is exciting. Because I can see like how fast you are, and I can also see how slow I am, and this is stressing me out slightly, and so I know I'm going to make even more mistakes and then delete everything. So be prepared for that.
Well, we have source control.
Source control won't help you once I'm done. Okay, and we've already met. There you go. That's
Cool.
it.
And now let's run all the tests and see them all come green again. I hope. We have one failing. Okay, I guess, yeah, because I didn't remove these. So
fair enough. Okay.
And everything is green again.
Woo! Cool. Amazing.
Now, okay, that fixes that. Now I think I have one more little refactoring in mind before we close the counter.
Okay.
Here we have two little things.
Or 3 or 4.
What we have here, we have a little bit of a duplication here. Well, okay, this is total overstatement, but still. And we could have, so there is like this, it's a guideline that the less specific constructors should call into the most specific constructor. And this is our most specific constructor. So this one should actually call into this one by passing in the name and setting the occurrences to 1. And do
That
you know
is cool.
how we do that?
No, I do not. But it sounds really cool.
So we can write this.
Yeah.
This is how we can chain constructors. And well, per default, I think every constructor is calling the parameterless construct. No, hold on. No, per default, every constructor is calling the base constructor. But
Okay.
we're not deriving from anything, so we are deriving from object. So this is basically not really doing anything impactful. But we can call a different one. So basically, like saying base, this is basically what implicitly every constructor does. And what we now want to do is to call into not the base from this one, but into this one down here, which then calls into the base. And we pass in the name and our 1. And this basically now calls into this constructor. And we got rid of this very little duplication. And all the tests should still be green.
That's really cool.
And they are.
Woo!
And
easy,
yeah,
easy lemon squeezy.
I'm afraid I still have one more thing.
Go for it.
I also wanted to have a project name here, so that we can, because we're gonna need that later, that when we do this that we can print the project name that those usings belong to.
Okay, yes, that makes sense.
So our constructor should get the project name. I guess there should be a refactoring for that. Yes, there is. And this will be, actually, let's get rid of that one. And now I would also like to assert this in our using, that okay, this will now, I'll just pass in anything here, that it compiles again.
Doesn't compile.
Required member. Okay, we need to set the sets required members here. Yes. And in the assert that we just wrote, we can now also assert the project name. So we can say that the actual.project name, we can say assert.equals. Our expected is,
so equal is back.
Equal is back for this. And the project name that we create, we actually can have a look at how we create the project. So we create a project and call the project test project. So in our case, this will be what we want to compare against. So we expect test project. And running the tests now should have them all fail. And they do.
Wow. Well,
because
not all of them.
Expected, those which cancel and throw errors, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, fine.
And we expect a test project, but got nothing. And now I would like you to
oh my god,
fix
yes.
that. I'll remove that again, and now we need to get a hold of the project name and pass it in there.
The project name and pass it in there. So I just think, can I just do project.name?
I'm not entirely sure, but I hope so. Seems
easy. I was like, if this works, I'm very happy.
Excellent.
Oh my god. I don't think I've ever solved a task that you gave me this quickly. Even if the task was like, can you just copy paste this over? Very, very proud. Okay,
and
good.
I have one final to do here. I also wanted to override the toString because this helps with debugging. So we could say we could return the project name. And yeah, I believe we're now done with our using counter. Let's run it also against our test project and see if it still does what it should do.
Yes. Perfect.
Well, it doesn't print the project name yet. Perhaps we want to add that. We can make use of that in our CLI project. So let's not only print the using directives, let's also print the project name.
Yes, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. Can I just do a new, wait. I don't need, okay, we don't need the same command twice, so I don't need a new line, but I need something to add here. And we can use, should we use again these like 3, whatever you call it?
Well, I wouldn't edit here because those are the individual usings that we print.
I'm in the wrong place.
Then we would edit to each line.
Now we're back to normal.
Top.
Add it at the top. Okay, fabulous. At the top. Yes. Top of this. Yeah. I don't know.
So like before we print the using name and occurrences combination, we can print the project name. So we want to do that before.
So we don't. So we do want it in the loop or not?
Let's find out what's going on. Let's give it a try and then let's run it and see.
All right. No, actually, okay. So I can figure this out. This is for each loop. We're going using directives in results usings, and then we have. Yeah, I think I'm in the right place. No, I'm not in the right place. Either I think.
Let's give it a try. We will see what's happening.
Okay. This is gonna be a disaster. I was just so proud of myself.
It will be test driven. It's a unit test, but it's manual test driven.
Okay, good. But I think okay. So my brain is now telling me that okay, we have the project name, and then I don't know what's going to happen. Test driven. Okay, I'm confused. Okay, wait. We need this. It's pretty. I didn't do that. Okay, so I think it's pretty similar to the line below. Or can we just print? No, we do. We do need the $, and we do need a string, and hopefully it won't do what it just did before. Perfect. And because we need this $, because we want a project dot name in there. Project dot name. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
But before we run it, Wiesel says hello.
Hello.
Thank
you for joining.
We haven't met in quite some time, Wiesel, have we? I owe you something. I know that. A little project that I have on Hibernate now, but I'll get back to that.
Ooh.
Thanks for joining. Now let's give that a try. And we will see that
everything is awesome. We write it over every single.
Multiple times. Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, it also prints a target framework. That's cool.
Easy. I'm just putting it out of the loop. Right up here. Does that work? Yes, it would.
I'm also inclined to add project here, to say project : and then we print the project name. And let's start debugging. And now it says for our project under test.NET Core, which is built on .NET 6. We have 6 system using 6 collection generic using all of them 6 times, 1 reflection, and which we now can all try to globalize.
Woo!
This is now
the counter is now done.
Counter is done.
And I had my counters done dance, and you have your globalizers done dance.
Oh, yes. I promised that yesterday. And I
Yes, you
said I will
did.
regret it. And I do regret it. I'll come I'll come up with a dance until the end.
Great. I'm looking forward to
Oh, I don't.
it.
Okay,
Um,
globalizer time. What do we have? So our globalizer currently has a lot of to-dos and it dramatically froze. Maybe let's have a look at the tests, what we have so far. And we have a little project. And if we don't have any local using directives, then nothing will be replaced, so the output will be the same. But if we do have a using, now that should be replaced. So here in the input, we have one document. And in the expected result, we have two documents, where the first document is empty now because this using system has been removed. And and it has been globalized into a separate new file. And this is now what we need to assert. And I guess before we can write our tests properly, I think it is a great idea to first define our signature of the method. So what is the input and what is the output? I will briefly duplicate this line and make this empty so everything still compiles and return null here. So what should our signature look like? What should be the input to our globalizer?
the input should be, I suppose, a sort of a solution of some sort, and then a command, right?
Do we want to, if
Is
we
that
pass, do we want to post, if we do entire solution, this would be multiple projects. Do we want to do this
Oh.
at multiple project level or at single projects?
That is an excellent question. I suppose if you're asking the question, it's probably going to be individual projects. So we want a project in the command. So it's
Yes.
be like globalize
I guess the
project.
answer is in our GitHub project. I'll post the
Ooh.
link also in the description in the chats because I already created a where is it? Oh, it's not there, is it? SLN? Ah, there it is. A ticket for later on, so that we add support for solution and solution filters as well. But for the beginning, the lowest, the smallest unit that we want to operate on is a project. So let's start with the project, and then we can later on do solutions on a bigger level. So the input is a solution, and what I haven't thought about is what is the output?
The output.
So, because we need something that we can in the unit test compare against, but also then in the real implementation, then actually replace. Because in the real implementation, we need to use the workspace that we have. If we jump to the production code, we need the workspace that we have here and then change something in there and then try to apply those changes. And I think I haven't really thought about this, but I think if we also return a project, this could solve both use cases because we can compare both projects against each other in the unit test. And the real deal then basically replace this from this workspace. Try to, if we can, say workspace dot project workspace dot solution dot is there a replace project or something, or we remove the old project and add a new project with project with project name. Okay, I'm not too sure, but I think this should work.
I like the idea. Okay, so we get a project, we put in a project, we get a project out.
And we also pass in the string that we want to globalize. Also the using that we want to globalize. Cool. Then I
and
guess
would this
it's
be one string at a time, or can you sort of
where we
select
could
like
also pass in a collection of strings or do it like with a params. Yes, but let's start with the smallest one.
yes.
And then I like the idea of having potentially multiples. Allow multiple local usings to be globalized. But maybe I'm not thinking if we should do this in like the first MVP style. Maybe I think this would be a perfect addition too for a future version.
Cool.
But I love the idea.
Great. Okay, amazing. So
now let's have our first test here. So we pass in something and then return a new document with the global using. So let's update this test. So rather than creating this string here, we now want to create a project. I think we should just be able, because what we have in scope is our create project facility that we used in the other test as well. We'll be using, we have two versions. We have an unchecked and a checked version, where the unchecked does not throw if there are compiler errors, but the checked version does. And since this test should be as correct as possible, let's use the checked version that also asserts that we enter a valid C# string here.
yes.
And we need to await this. And this will now be our project. Well, this is our...
Can't be void if we await it, right? Up there.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So this method needs to be async. Perfect. Async task. So this will be our project. And then we have our expected project that can also be a project. So we just create a new one, await, create project, async. And now we have two projects. Now the globalizer takes this in. We want to replace system. And then now we need to assert these.
Yes.
And I guess we can again do an assert result method, where we pass in the first is the expected, then is the actual. Let's create this method. Let's move that to the bottom.
Okay, yeah.
And this will be the actual. And now we need to compare them.
Easy.
And then again throw what did we do in the other one?
Yeah.
For an XUnit exception if they don't match.
Like do we still have to check for all the null thingies? Yes, right?
No, because if we annotate, because now we have this method under control, and if we ensure we didn't mark this as nullable.
Oh,
and if we ensure that this never will be null, then we don't need to do the null checks.
Then we don't need to do that. Okay.
We had to do it in the equality comparer because that's the interface or the abstract base method that the thing is expecting. Well, we could ignore them. We could have also ignored the null checks actually. Now that you mention it in the equality comparer, because we don't really need them. But now it's a more complete thing. Should they be null? Should we make an error and something is null, then it doesn't crash, but it gives proper equality thing. So it's, if we make an error, then it will be helpful.
Good. Then I'm glad.
But since we control this project, and we would get warnings if we return null, then it won't be null.
Okay.
And then we could also throw an XUnit exception. That's the thing. If like some if check that I'm not sure yet, and then we throw new XUnit exception bad.
Nice. Good. Done. Easy.
So how do we compare these projects? I guess
Do
we need to
we? Is there any
yeah.
way we can loop through the individual no, components is the wrong word, but like the individual bits?
So we could, yes, we could,
Files, I think, is the right
but
name.
not files, but documents.
Documents.
So we can get a hold of all the documents, and maybe we can select these to get the string of this. Let's say document dot. Can we get the text or something? Get text async.
That looks cool. That looks good.
However,
if
this
it's
is async. So this is not, the select also needs to be, I think async link is not supported per default by the BCL. So I think we need a package that's name I currently can't recall. It's, actually, no, I embarrass myself. Actually, I did this in a talk. So I have this somewhere.
It's in a talk? In your talk?
It was my very first talk 3 years ago. So this is why I can't recall.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. If it's the very first, then you're excused.
And
if it had been like part of the JetBrains
oh no,
talk like last week, I would have shamed you. I would have been very strict with you.
With good reason.
Yeah. But no, okay, if it's the very first talk a couple of years ago, I understand. Bearing in mind, I forgot the name of the exception like within 3 seconds of you mentioning it. So, yeah.
Where do I have this? Do I not? Maybe I didn't mention exceptions, continuations, cancellation. No, I don't think I have it. Okay. Maybe I have it under resources or something. Damn it. What's the async link.net? I forget the package. System link async. That looks promising. Yeah, I think it's that one from the reactive extensions. That's .NET Reactive. Yeah, cool. That's the right one. And that enables link. That enables async link. Yes.
Great.
So let's install that package. Okay. And now we can have, now there is more selects. There is now a select, is it a select async or something? Or is it select await? Auto completion is not. Let's see, is there using link.async, or is it just, or is it in system link? Select. I'm hoping for. Oh no, that's with. My bad. That's with async enumerable. That's with async enumerable. So maybe we don't need the package actually, because we don't have an async enumerable, we have a sync enumerable, but this is asynchronous. So I guess what will this end up with? We need. What is the result? Okay. This will be the expected.
I like var. That was great.
this is how I start when I don't know which name I'll be using.
Just okay, great.
Oh no, hold on. So it's a task. Ooh,
Ooh.
the T is a task. So we have many tasks that we would now need to await. But I was hoping there is a C# link async selector. Maybe I didn't read the. Okay, well they do the dot result, but that's not nice. We can do a. Wait, I think I'm a bit stuck here. Okay, let's do a dot result for now, and I have it to do for later.
Nice.
Asyncify.
Good stuff.
Okay, so we now have all the expected documents, or the strings of the expected documents, and let's do the same with from the actual project. So this will be our actual. What will be actual texts? Documents. And from these, I think this is now a source text. I'm not sure if source text is comparable, but let's give it a try. If we now do the same sequence equal that we had previously, and if it's not, then we throw some exception.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, let's start with that, and then we can improve the error messages.
Sure.
And okay, so let's give that test project the actual project. That's what I call this result. So we pass in the project and with our expected project and the result. Okay, let's see how this is ending up. And it will give us a not implemented exception. Yes, perfect, yes. Because we haven't implemented it. And now we want to iterate the document. I think we still have here some hints here. We want to iterate all documents, get a hold of the using declarations, and see if they match the local using that we get in here. So get, or for each document, get top level using directives. Check if matching input. And if they do, then remove it.
Okay.
Remove the node. Otherwise, we don't do anything. And at the end, if we removed one node, then we want to create a new document, add new document, the global using document. With input using. And I guess there is no shame if we get inspired of our other implementation of the using counter. So what do we need?
Good question. We need.
So what we need is, I guess, also using this compilation unit. I think this is a good approach. So we basically, well, let's ignore all the generated stuff. We will do this later on.
Yeah. But we need that, and also the verify thing, right?
Let's also not verify for errors. Let's do this when we actually have to test. So let's only count. We assume everything is cool. And for the syntax root, we need a document. So we can actually, via the document, we can get the syntax root, which we can cast into a compilation unit syntax. And then we can check if this compilation unit syntax says usings yeah, the statics, let's ignore them as well, and get the name and see if that matches. And if it does, we remove that node.
Okay.
Would you like to give that a try?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, but this is a really good comment, because I think I'll start with a for each loop. For each. There you go. And then what? For each document
Mhm.
Okay, so we have the project. And is there a document? No. For
So,
each document no? What is it?
No, go ahead.
Is it for each document in projects?
So for each, we first need to declare the variable that we want each element to be stored in. Yes.
Document in project dot documents.
Yes. Perfect.
Get top level using directives. Now we need
Yes,
this.
I guess we need what we have for get the syntax root.
Mm-hmm. But how do we get the syntax root? Can we go back to how we got it over in the other
No,
project?
let's. I think
No.
auto completion should help you.
Really?
Yes.
What? There is no auto completion. Can I just go syntax root?
Per document.
Okay. Oh my god. Ooh.
I think I now do the reverse. I write the comment, and now you're the automatic AI machine.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have it should have some root thing?
Root thing. Get syntax root.
Mm-hmm.
Async. That's autocomplete. Wait. We don't need the wait. Do we need the wait? Wait.
No.
Wait. Are we waiting? No.
No.
Good. Get syntax root async. For each. So if this syntax root is matching the input.
Compilation unit syntax. I think this is how it's called. Yeah. So we need to cast that. So this returns us a syntax node.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we can store that in a local already.
In a local?
In a local variable.
Why? No, this one. So wait. This is
root or syntax root.
Syntax root.
But this is a task. No, hold on. Why does it not? Oh yes, this is a task of syntax node, not the task itself. So because it's an async method, how do we get the actual node out of that?
Dot result. No.
We could do dot result, or we we can do result for now, and then later on we asyncify it.
Okay.
Okay, cool. And now we need to cast this to the compilation unit syntax.
Yes. How do we do that?
By just typecasting it. So we can declare a new local field, not local field, a local variable that we call compilation unit.
Okay.
But I'd do it in this loop because it
in the
belongs.
Loop, okay.
We now convert this syntax root because we know it's a compilation unit. So after getting a hold of this one, we can now typecast it to the other type. We now downcast it.
Downcast it, okay.
An upcast is up the hierarchy. So if you would cast it to something less specific, for example, if you would cast it to object, because we can just do that. We could say object. Object upcast is syntax root, because that's a syntax node is a reference type. Every reference type derives from object. Well, in .NET, everything is an object, but you shouldn't cast value types into objects or structs into objects, because that's boxing and that causes allocation. That's not so good. But for classes, we can implicitly cast it to an object because
Okay.
every class derives from object. So this is an upcast. This works
But we want to
without.
downcast.
We also don't need to do that because downcasts work implicitly. Yes, but
Okay.
the downcast we need to do explicitly, and we want to cast it into this compilation unit syntax.
Okay. Local variable, compilation unit syntax. No. Yes.
Or
Maybe.
compilation unit.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Compilation unit is this syntax root, but it's not a var. It's a compilation unit. No, I'm not sure. Yes.
Yeah, this will be the compilation. Oh, yeah. Sorry, you were already writing. Yes.
I was already.
Sorry.
But it's okay. Go for it.
Okay. Yeah, the compilation unit. Compilation. Where is it? Maybe we still need the using for that. I guess we need the using. Yes, there it is. C# syntax. Okay. Now we need to downcast this syntax root. Basically, just how I upcasted it here explicitly, we need an explicit cast. Yeah.
Object.
But
no,
not
but
to
it's
object,
not object.
but to this very type.
I got it. Thank you. Compilation unit syntax. Oh, fabulous. Easy.
Downcasting is safe. This is why we can do it explicitly, but upcasting is not, because it could be, because we don't know at compile time that it's actually really this type. We assume. If it isn't, then this would actually crash. And in that very case, I now like to have var here so we don't have to, so we don't state that the type twice.
Okay.
So now we have the unit, and from that we can go through all the using directives that this compilation unit has, or all the top level using directives that this
compilation unit has, right? Oh god.
Yes.
Okay, so it's another for each loop.
Mm-hmm.
For each what is it? What did you say? Is it using?
Yes.
Using in compilation unit? No. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Compile. It's not. It doesn't autocomplete. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, because we have a compile error here. I just now autocompletion should work again.
Okay. It's not. What's going on?
So we need to get the top level usings out of this compilation unit itself is not enumerable. We can't iterate it, but it should have a member which is it's not called top level usings. I think it's just called usings.
Usings, easy.
And this now works because this usings it's a syntax list, and syntax list implements I read only list and I read only list. I can't F12 this, but eventually I read only list implements I enumerable, and this is why this for each actually works. Well, there is a little bit more to the for each, but basically that's the most common case. And we can't use using here because using is a non-contextual C# keyword, so we can never use using as an identifier. We could, I'm inclined to call it local in comparison to the non-local usings, to the global usings that we then have.
Okay, and then we compare this to
that string, yes. And if it is, then so we have this, yes.
If local is equal to input local using. Oh my god, this is so basic. Does this work? This doesn't work.
No, because the thing is that this local using is a using directive. So now we need to, if I state the explicit type, so we need to cast this to a string. And I think what we did last time, we just called toString on it. But let me check. I totally forgot. No. So we get the name. We get the name of this node.
Okay.
And then toString that.
Okay.
Oops. Sorry. There we are.
But this doesn't have a name. Oh, is this? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then toString it. toString.
Okay, cool. And if this is, now it gets tricky, then we need to remove the node. Then now we need to remove this node from the document.
Okay.
And I think there is some, I think we have, this is, the to-dos at the bottom are the hints that David gave us 4 episodes ago. So maybe you can use them. I'm not entirely sure actually how removing nodes works. I haven't done this in 2 years.
I'm just reading through them now.
So we can get from the root, we should be able to call remove node with the node that we want to remove, and then we have a new root node that we then need to assign to this project. Okay, I guess C# document with, no, this creates a new document. But let's create a new node, because Roslyn is all immutable. So let's try to remove the node from the original root, and then we have a new node, or a new root actually. So let's, via the original root or the compilation unit, both should work.
So compilation unit.
Let's see if that has .remove node.
Yes.
Okay, and now remove node gets a node that we want to remove, and it also has remove options. I have no idea what remove options are. Remove options to keep no trivia. Okay, we can do something with trivia. If we later on run into problems, I guess we need to have a look. Yeah, okay. Let's keep in mind that there is syntax remove options. I'm not sure what they mean. I never used them. But let's keep it in mind. We may be needing this later on. And now let's remove this very node that we know is
local, the input, right?
Mm-hmm. No. The load. No. This is a string. But this is the node that we now.
This is the
the
node.
local node is the node that we confirmed that it matches the input.
The input. Yes. Okay. Perfect.
And this. Oh, it does. Oh, they are not optional. The syntax.
The options aren't optional.
The options are not optional. So I don't know which one to keep, which one to use. And I think this is also a flag. Yeah, there's a flag, so we could use all of them or none. I'll say default for now.
Okay.
And then I guess we need to read this afterwards, how to deal with that. Okay. And this is now this returns a new compilation. Hold on. Maybe we don't need that if we use the syntax root. If I replace the compilation unit with the syntax root.
Yes.
Does this have a remove node which doesn't? No, it's the same. Okay. So it doesn't matter which one we use. Let's use the compilation unit. Okay. And this basically now is a new root that we have, or a new compilation unit.
And we need to. Oh, okay.
So let's store it in a local.
Okay.
In a local variable that we then can later on play with further.
I'm just gonna call it the same that David did for now.
So what this now basically does, if our original input, let's say, is using system and also using system.collection. If this is the original root or the original compilation unit syntax, now the new compilation unit syntax would be the one with this node removed. But we still now need to assign this root to the document of the project.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm not sure how to do that. I guess now it gets tricky. So maybe, I'm not sure, but maybe the document has something to say with syntax root or something. It actually does. Okay.
Nice.
And this now creates a new document. So let's pass in this new node, which will then be the new document. So I'll pass in that. Okay. And now, okay, let's care about nullable warnings later.
Yes.
And now we need to replace this document in this project. This is not a new document. Okay, but we are in a for each node because we could potentially remove more than one node. Well, let's leave it as now as is. I think there is a bug for now, but we will fix this later on when we have more tests. And now I'm not sure. I hope that the project has something with document. No, it doesn't. How do we replace a node of this? No, how we replace the document of this project? Do we need to remove and add it again? I'm not sure. Is there a replace or something?
Yeah.
Well, the project has a solution, doesn't it? No, but this doesn't help.
Ah, yes, this was like, yeah, with new solutions.
But yeah, because the solution doesn't.
Can we just override it somehow? Be like,
Well, maybe the solution has some with document syntax root.
oh,
Maybe that's the thing. That looks promising.
that looks
because
pretty
it
good, yeah.
takes. Oops. With document. Oops. What was it? Syntax root. Yes. That looks promising because that takes a document ID and a syntax root and also has a preservation mode, which I have absolutely no idea what this one does.
Oh my God.
Preserve value or preserve identity.
I love it.
We may be needing this in later.
Yes.
But for now, I will ignore it because I don't know what it is.
Fair enough.
So we could now maybe we don't need this document after all. We just need our new node. And say, okay, dear project solution, from this document with this ID, please use this new node. And now we have a new. No, this returns a new solution. Well, this returns a new solution. Maybe we need. Okay, how do we do it? Let's get a hold of the solution. Project.solution. And now we store that. Oops. What did I do?
Delete all? No.
And no, I pressed key. Page up.
Okay.
And now let's store this new solution here. But we also need to return it. So at the end of our for each, let's return solution dot, but we need to get a project. So we can perhaps get our project back that we know the ID of, get project.id. If the ID doesn't change of this project, if it does change, we may run into trouble. And this could be null if it's not found. So let's see what will happen. I am not sure. This could go super wrong.
Woo! Wow. Okay.
So where is our test?
It was.
I totally forgot which test we wrote. Globalizer. There it is.
Yep.
And it says bad.
Nice.
So
that's good.
That's good because that means this passes actually.
Yes.
But the question is, okay. So let's make a better message out of that. How do we? Well, we could print, wow. We could print all the documents, but if it's a big project, then this is a lot of code that we'll be printing. But
Yeah.
well, we could start with that. And if we see this is way too much, then we could
Go back to bed.
Yes. So I'll go ahead and from our go back to bed. Yeah, bed is good in that case. Yeah. I'll grab what we had here with the message and do something quite similar.
Bless
Oops.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's string join our expected documents, but we need to get the strings out of that. So let's select these documents. And can we toString this?
Yeah,
maybe.
Looks good. Maybe.
And let's do the same with the actual documents too. Oops. And maybe. Where was the bed? There was the bed. Ooh, okay.
Nice.
So we expected an empty document and a global using system, but we got nothing.
Nothing.
Okay. So our project that we return is dramatically empty. But we return something. Okay.
Good start. I think that's a good start.
Yeah, if we remove one node, yeah, we need to take care of that later. Hui. What do we do wrong? Why is everything gone? Debugging time. We do get a project. Okay, so we see that we find the system locally using. We replace the node, which now is empty. And I would like this document ID to have this new node. So now the solution has projects where there is our test project. So the name still is there, and it has documents. And it is our test document 0, so that's also still there.
Yeah.
But of course it's empty. Because we removed all of it.
Oops.
I think it does exactly what we wanted to do. But we haven't added a new document yet.
Okay.
So we need to add a new document to the project. Add document or something.
Yeah.
But I think we also need to do this with a solution again. So if we say project solution, so we need to grab this solution dot add document. Now we add a new document with a new document ID dot create new ID. It requires a project ID, but we have that. We have the project ID. And we also need to pass a name and the text. So the name will be How do we want to call it as a beginning? To do not CS.
Yes.
And the text now will be the global using. So
But we don't want to add a document every single time, do we?
That's
We only...
right. So we then later on need, that's correct. We then later need to find if the project exists, if the document exists already, and
Yeah.
then only do it if it, add to it if it doesn't exist, but remove it if it does. But perhaps as a start, we can now say global.
Okay.
With the name of our local global using room.
Yes. And does it need
use.
a semicolon or something?
It does indeed. Very good. Okay, now that actually looks equal.
But why does it not pass then? What? What is that? That is fantastic.
I think that the I think our sequence equality goes on source text. So the collections that we have here is source text, but I assume source text, it's not equatable. So this does reference equality, and they're not equal by reference. So I guess again, one more time, we need our own comparer. I'll just quickly create a new. I call it my comparer for now. No, let's give it a proper name. Syntax tree. No, what was it? Syntax source text. Source text comparer. Private sealed class, which derives from equality comparer of source text. Now we need to implement both methods. Again, we don't care about the get hash code, but we care about the equals. And let's do a quick return x dot toString equals y dot toString. We still have, we do get these nullable warnings, so we need to take care of these null checks afterwards again. But let's see if this test is passing. It does.
Woo! Perfect. Good job. I like it.
How do we call so if there is no global using yet, how do we call this document?
That is an excellent question.
Because I think the notes that I made for myself are, so what I found, like by trying to find some, well, we discussed this, we tried to find some, what's it called? Common standards.
Common standards, sort of what, like we were thinking about, like what options do we have and what do we know and what is sort of commonly used. And you've got some suggestions, let's say.
So for the file name, when the original XUnit template that we created our tests from did contain a file which only has global using directives, and it was called usings.cs, and it was in the root of the project. If we enable implicit usings, what the compiler generates is in obj debug target framework, then creates a file which has the project name, and then a .g.cs, so a generated file, but this one is called global usings.cs. So I think, so what either you, so as what I found, what are native or somewhat native to .NET is either usings.cs or global usings.cs. And then is the question about the path. Do we have it in the root, or do we do it in some sub project, such as per default, when we also have a So we have two test projects, one for .NET Core, one for .NET Framework. And if we create a new .NET Framework, well, it's not necessarily .NET Framework, but the older project, CS project structure, these templates always come with a properties directory that has assembly info. And this was a convention to have in the properties directory the assembly info file. Now in .NET Core, this assembly info file is actually auto-generated, but this was the convention in .NET in the times of .NET Framework. And I personally like to use this properties convention and have also the global usings in there. But I guess this is a matter of taste. And then is the question, where do we want to have it in the root, or do we want to have it in the properties subdirectories?
Okay. So since we're calling it kind of the globalize and everything, like I prefer the name global usings, to be honest. But it's a good question about where to put it, because on the one hand, because it's like our tool, and then when we sort of like give it to people, I would love to like them to use it and then actually like bam, like have the result of it like in their faces. It's like, oh, there it is, which would probably be, yeah, I suppose more visible in Roots. But then again, as a user, from the user perspective, I would just like it to be sort of stored quite neatly away in this properties thing. So yeah, it's a good question. What do you think?
What is your preference now? So one of these, I see.
Yes. So
And
I think I would, if I'm completely honest with you, my personal preference would be global usings in the properties file.
okay, I like that, because that's also my preference.
What? Really? No way.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Okay. Fabulous.
But
I don't know.
should we ask more people about that?
Yeah,
Because I'm
I
really not
think
sure if
so.
this is a good default. Well, eventually our project, it should be able that we can also pass into our globalizer, pass in the name of the target using file, which it searches if it exists already and adds those global usings to, or creates it if it does not exist. But I guess for the first release, we could assume our default. But I'm really not sure what in the .NET community, what a good default
I
could
agree as
be.
well. Like if we really want to build a tool that's sort of used by, a variety of people, I think we should ask a variety of people, and maybe we can ask you, our viewers, or like our followers on social media. I suppose if you haven't, please do that. On Twitter and on LinkedIn, for example, we post quite regularly about this stream, about sort of what we've planned to do or what we've done previously. And this, like, yeah, if we create a poll there and you guys vote for your favorite option, that would really, really help us out and give some feedback on sort of how you guys would like to use the tool and what would be useful in your, worlds, in your lives, in your projects. Yeah, that's actually a fabulous idea. I really like that.
Before we close, I would like to try one last thing. If our code now actually works with the real project, if we get that working in like 5 minutes or so, what do you say?
Let's do it in like 5 minutes or so. I will
If
hold
it
you to that.
creates, okay, so let's not, because I'm not sure how I'm not. So let's try that. Let's say global usings.cs, and I think there is also a way of adding a path or something. There's like an oops. There is an stop debugging. There is also a folders that we can paths. I hope this works as I expect, so that we can say, oops, there it is, so that we can say new string array with the properties folder name. Okay, and now we go to, okay, 5 minutes. We go to application.
Also, we said 5 minutes also. So
Okay.
That can
So
be
it will be 50.
anything. Yeah.
So we have here our
This will be our
counter.
24-hour session.
New project, await using counter.globalize. Oh, it's of course using globalizer.globalize. And we pass in the project and we want to globalize all the system using directives. Now, this doesn't work because, okay, it's not available yet. Yeah, we're still synchronous, so okay. And now we have our project here. And we need to, we have a project. Now we need to replace this project. Project.solution.with replace. Remove project. How can we set the new project in the solution with project? Oh, I go cheating. I think I read a blog, a GitHub issue about this frequently, recently. Roslyn project compile include. No, must be a GitHub issue. Now trying something weird. No, was a project. Was then adds document. Yeah, that's the one. That's the
Nice.
one. Jason Bock wrote this. So we create our workspace, we open the solution, we get the project, and we add. So okay. He doesn't replace a document.
Okay.
He does it already on the solution level, not on the project level. So maybe we can't do. Okay. Let's just. I'll hack that for now.
Nice.
Into our globalizer. So what do we need to do? We go project document, and we have a new. A document gives a new solution. There we go. And then we say workspace, try apply. That's the thing.
Nice. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, we've had that
okay.
before. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we've done it before, but
there it is
David
actually.
told us. Yeah.
So workspace dot try apply changes, and we say new project dot solution.
Yep.
Maybe that's F5. This may crash dramatically. Well, it doesn't. So now I'm curious. This may have worked. This just may have worked. Okay, this just may have worked. I'm now going to GitHub desktop to have a look at the diff. So what now happened is, okay, now that's unfortunate, but what happened is that actually the CS project was changed. And we now added a lot of files. We added this global usings a lot of times. So we have a bug, but I think this is actually what's happening that Jason is mentioning, that we get these new item groups. Although, so this is necessary for .NET Framework project or for this classical .NET Framework style projects, but for the newer .NET Core SDK style projects, those are no longer needed. This is also what David mentioned in our session, that the newer project format does this per default. So we don't need to explicitly include every C# file. Every C# file is implicitly included.
But so why does it now? Sorry, I'm still confused why it now added so many of them.
Because I think we have a bug in our globalization that we do this for we add a document. Yeah, so we add a new document every time.
Okay, but that's what we also said, that
yes,
we should have this check. Okay.
Only add if not.
Okay, fair enough.
Yet.
So we were expecting this to happen.
Yes. So it works as We built, yeah, as expected, actually, yeah. And well, the file only exists one time, but we get this multiple times, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
But here we now have our global usings file in
Mm-hmm.
the properties directory. There it is. It didn't exist yet. It says global using, and all the they are gone from all the documents.
Nice. Good
So
stuff.
this actually, I'm surprised this works. Cool. Okay, this is fantastic.
This is pretty cool.
I have no idea what to do about that, about the CS project change.
Well, okay.
But well, in worst case, this compile include. Okay, guess we need some. I think this. I'll store this
Mm-hmm.
text here. I think this mentions a workaround. Then how to we can remove that again. This compile. And yes, but in theory it works. We now need to do the only add it if it's existing.
Mm-hmm.
And if it does exist, then add a new using at the bottom.
Nice.
And yeah, cool. So this is the
Good
first
stuff.
step for our globalizer.
I love it. Good stuff. All
And that did
right.
take longer than 5 minutes, haven't I?
It did slightly 5 minutes or so. That's what we kind of said. And so, okay, next time we're gonna fix our bug. We're gonna make sure that I was just gonna fix the write the tests and fix the tests as we always do, I suppose.
Yes.
And our to-dos
So,
and our many to-dos.
so we need to find out what our default is, then append if it already exists.
Mm-hmm.
There it says create new if it doesn't exist. Then this will be the poll. Then we only want to do it for top level namespaces, no nested usings. Well, we got that already, but we need a test for that. We need to ignore global usings, static usings, and alias usings.
Alias.
Oh, yeah. Do you think I can ever get this right, like in my life?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely, you can. And you've this is like I haven't caught you in a while, so
Okay.
like it's getting good.
Caught me.
Yeah, I've caught myself now saying it incorrectly.
Oh, so I'm a bad influence on you, aren't I?
Yeah, which is no, that's not true.
Ignore all the auto-commented. Well, we have the code. This is why we extracted the code in separate types, because this will be similar. We need an additional check. We only want to do this if the project is in C#10, because if the project is in C#9, global usings aren't supported yet, and this would result in compiler errors. So we should have a check. Not only do we check for if it's check that only C#. So we not only disallow Visual Basic projects, but also check if it's at least C#10. Then again, support cancellation, check that we have no compiler errors. And I guess this then would be a follow-up for a future version. But this would be our MVP. I need to create a GitHub issue for that. Oh, I already have a GitHub issue for that. Yes. We already, sorry, I was CI.
Perfect. Nice.
And
okay. That's what we've got planned for the future. Speaking of the future, when do we have our next?
I'm afraid it will be a while. We now go on a bit of a 3-week pause, 3-week break.
Yes.
This is why we now did a back-to-back session. So we'll be back on Wednesday the 7th at the same time. Different date.
And that's obviously quite a long time to go without any interesting .NET content. So as always, we do have a couple of suggestions for you. And I think they're pretty cool this time. First, we've got the Global Azure Austria event. It's completely online, so you don't have to be in Austria to take part. And I think again, there's quite a lot of interesting content on there. Definitely go and check that out. Ooh, Yes, perfect. There,
There
you can
is a
see it.
lot of
Wow,
content.
there is a lot of content. Perfect.
And they will
So
so they will meet tomorrow in they'll also do Gather Town. Do you know what Gather Town is?
no.
This is do they show it here? It's like a yeah, you're like running around in this
Oh, that's so
2D
cool.
game kind of thing. And if you're close to people, then you can hear them, but if you're far away, you can't hear them.
That's
So this is
so
quite
cool.
this is
I
quite
love that.
for an
Oh my
online
god.
experience, it's quite immersive.
Oh my god. I would just join that just for that experience. Um, that's really funny. Cool. What else have we got? We've got a couple of meetups. AWS Lambda and ASP.NET Core. That's also online, I think, right?
Yes, that's also online on May the 17th. And I think I hope I have time to actually see that one. I don't want to miss that
Yeah,
one actually.
might be
Then
useful. Mhm.
I guess we have the usual suspect, isn't it?
Oh yes, the usual suspect. Yeah,
the the monthly
fabulous.
.NET Devs AT meetup that
Yeah,
that
they have
I co-organize.
some really talented organizers. Yes.
Yeah, and
No,
me.
it's actually I yeah. Yeah, no, it's a really cool event. I do, I was, because yeah, I really recommend it to everyone. I think you have really interesting talks, really a really nice community.
Mm.
It's I mean, it's really cool to be there in person, but even online. Is this one online as well?
This
Or
one
is
this one is only
anything?
online,
Oh,
and it will
perfect.
be on how to test API web API calls with
Yeah,
C Sharp. So
definitely
this
go
is
check that
quite
out.
yeah, this is quite present in our domain, isn't it?
It is. I definitely want to see that one. And what have we got here?
The bigger
The
event,
bigger event, slightly bigger.
the yearly Microsoft Build event, which is from 23rd to 25th of May, all online. Oh no, hold on. The online version is 23rd to 24th.
Okay.
And there is so much content. I
Oh
guess
my god.
there is, well, this is only like the keynote stuff, but there is so much content about
Wow.
what's new also in .NET, but also in Azure and entire Microsoft sphere. And I'm not sure, but they may be pretty sure they will also do a session on what will be coming up in C# 12. I haven't checked the agenda yet, but they did last time or the last year, so I'm quite certain they do again.
Okay.
And I guess the other thing that we want to mention, that's the reason why we now go on a 3 weeks hibernate, because I'll be in 2 weeks at the NDC in Oslo.
Yes, that's really, really
And I
cool. I
will.
wish I could come, because it sounds like a really cool event. It's a massive.
Oh, yes,
I
it is.
think it's.
Yes, it is.
Didn't you say it's like the biggest NDC?
I think I'm not. I think it's the biggest NDC.
Okay, it's
I'm
massive.
not sure if there is also.
That's
I've never. Well, there is also. Well, Australia has 2 NDCs.
Oh wow.
But this is when I
Okay.
realized, because Australia is huge.
Yes, it is huge.
There's also one in the States, which I'm not sure what the size is, but I am
Okay, fair enough.
fairly
Fair.
certain it's the biggest. Well, if not, if it's one of the biggest, yeah.
Sure.
And
And it's also
I'll be eating a lot of Brunost.
nice. Sounds good. And you're gonna have 2 talks there, I think, right?
Yeah. Yes. One I
But
still
they're
have to
also like
prepare.
we scrolled through the agenda. There's so many interesting speakers with like really cool sounding
Mm.
talks. So yeah, I'm really excited about this as well. So don't worry about the next couple of weeks. You'll be fine without us. There's lots of cool things going on.
And I have my personal agenda ready already. So I will also talk to some people and hope that they will join in 1 or 2 of our upcoming episodes
Yeah, that'd be
later this
amazing.
year.
Looking forward to it.
Sweet.
Yep. And if you want to sort of yeah, put it in your obviously in your calendar. But if you don't want to do that, you can also follow us on LinkedIn. We will sort of like let you know when our next stream is. Like, I don't know, I guess the week before we'll just post it. We'll remind everybody this is our next stream. This is when we'll be back, and also we'll give a little, brief summary of what we're going to be working on, which is again the globalizer, the .NET tool. So I hope to
yeah.
see you all there,
Oops.
because yeah, thank you so much for tuning in this time. Really lovely to have you, and yeah, hopefully see you on the 7th of June.
We'll be back.